My name is Ronald Comia and I'm a program manager for affordable housing and homelessness at the city. The city is currently engaging on property listing criteria that will help us select a developer for the Ogilvie Ridge surplus school site into a mixed market affordable housing development. This short presentation will provide the background information you need to understand the project and the input we are seeking. You can provide your input through the Engage Edmonton webpage. I'll start with some background on the Building Housing Choices program. In 2009, the city received 17 undeveloped school sites that has been declared surplus by the Edmonton Public School Board. In 2015, City Council approved 9 of those sites for mixed market affordable housing development. That includes that site in Ogilvie Ridge. Council also passed a policy to guide the development of these sites. According to the guidelines, 50 to 75% of the units will be non-market housing. That means housing that is offered at below market rents or purchase prices. The rest will be offered at market rates. The non-market units will look the same as market units. The development must provide long-term affordability. That means the operator must provide below market rates for up to 50 years. The development will be medium density, which means row houses, multifamily units, and/or low-rise apartments. None of the developments will include single detached housing. The development can include other uses that will benefit the entire community, such as small retail or daycare. I think it's important to provide a bit of background on why we need more affordable housing in Edmonton. According to the latest available data from the CMHC, there are nearly 50,000 households in Edmonton in core housing need. And it should be noted that this data is from before the COVID-19 pandemic. Core housing need means their housing either needs major repairs to bring it up to an adequate standard, is not suitable for their needs. For example, there are not enough bedrooms for the makeup of their family, or is unaffordable, meaning they pay more than 30% of their income on housing costs. When housing costs are too high, it becomes difficult to afford other basic needs like food and clothing, or to save for the emergencies like illness or job loss. Increasing the supply of affordable housing will take the financial strain off families and communities, and it will help us build an inclusive and compassionate city where everyone can feel safe and have the opportunity to thrive. That's why the city is committed to building 2,500 new units of affordable housing in all areas of Edmonton by 2022. Back to Ogilvie Ridge site. The city led significant public engagement between 2015 and 2018. During that time, we heard feedback on development scenarios as well as community's preference for seniors designation. In 2018, Councillor Cartmel put forward a motion designating this site as exclusively senior housing. That motion was not passed by City Council, so the site will not be designated for seniors. But that doesn't mean seniors can't or won't live there. At the last community conversation in 2018, the community provided feedback on the building site location. The community felt an alternate site on the southeast side would reduce traffic and parking congestion, allow better access to playgrounds and soccer fields, and allow space to be used for sports and recreation. We took some time to explore the technical and economic feasibility of moving the building site to the blue square you see in this slide. In November 2020, Executive Committee approved the proposal to move the building site. With approval of the site relocation, we are now moving toward listing the property for sale. Through the property listing, the city will select a developer-operator to build and manage the housing. Before we list the property for sale, we are gathering the community's input on criteria that will help us make our selection. I'll talk more about that on the next slide. We expect to publish the property listing this summer and have developer-operator in place by early 2022. Once the city has made its selection, the developer-operator will lead more public engagement. The engagement will focus on building design and good neighbor plan to help build a strong relationship with the community. The developer-operator will also lead the design process, any necessary rezoning applications, and construction. The development will be no more than 100 units in multi-unit housing. Back to our engagement. During the month of April, the city is holding public engagement for residents, businesses, and organizations in Ogilvie Ridge. Due to public health concerns, we are holding the engagement virtually on this Engage Edmonton page. During the engagement, we will share key criteria that the city will use to evaluate developer-operator that bid on the property listing. Those key criteria include financial sustainability, experience as developer-operator, and experience with building relationships in community. After you have had a chance to review those criteria, you will be asked a series of questions. Your answers will help us understand your views on a desirable developer-operator. You can also ask a question through the Q&A tool and a member of our team will respond. A What We Heard report summarizing the feedback we received will be created and shared with the community. It will also be attached to the property listing for the developer-operator to consider. The city's evaluation of submissions will consider alignment with community feedback where possible. Thank you for your interest and participation in this engagement.